What's up, everyone? I have to find like a better way of placing the camera. We're going to figure these things out. I think I have an idea. Anyhow, let me go and check out where everyone is at so that we could go hang out together. Camera. We're going to figure these things out. Oh, wait. This one is. Anyhow, let me go and. Aha. We're getting better. We're getting better, peoples. All right. So I wanted to check out to see who is on. I think two people are on right now. So I just wanted to say hello. Yvonne Reborn here from the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. And we are going to be jamming over a past episode of the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. And I was about to choose. And I think I'm going to go a little bit on reverse. But before anything, I just want to make sure that you guys can see me and you guys can hear me. Does that make sense? So type up in the chat where you are joining us from. Let me see. Do I have? Now I'm going to go check. Yo no tengo un espejo. I need un espejo. Let me see. Oh, no, it's just a lighting. Look at that. Okay, we are good. So everybody, let me know where you are joining us from because we're about to get started. Hopefully these things will not be long. I see somebody I know. What's up? What's going on? And we have been committing to re-listening to past episodes of the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. And that way we can discuss together. There's one of them that I have chosen. And there's another one that, I was very close to change last minute. And I did. And I think I'm going to go in reverse. And I think next time we will do the other one. Ooh, what's up, Chi-Town? Hearts. Yes. And we have been re-listening. If you heard to the last episode, what's the number of it? I think it was 105. I had notes of other episodes, and unfortunately, they took a back seat because of the podcast that happened last week. It was a little too involved, and I had to rescind. I should have just called it the rescinding podcast because there were things that I was taught, which I now had to say, they were wrong. And in the podcast, they were wrong. And so now I'm like, yeah, maybe we do need to listen to a lot of the past episodes because I'm writing today's dates like a student. Because I take notes on these things and I've learned a lot while we're all hanging out together. I've learned a lot. And one of the things for episode 105, I was talking to a bestie of mine and I was telling her that episode, doing the re-listening, that hurt. And I don't watch a lot of my past things. I don't re-listen to a lot of them. It was really hard, especially when I said some things that now I know is not correct. So I had to immediately jump that. So if you haven't heard that, that's episode 105. Go ahead, have a good time with it. And we are about to get started. Mind you, I chose one of the first couple of episodes. I heard the first 2 seconds and I was cringing because this is before I had this set up. So even now in the podcast, you hear me, I sound like this. But back then, I didn't. And oh boy. But we're going to listen to it anyway. And I hope that we can all hang out. I hope that we can all talk. I hope that we can all chat. Because, it makes things... on a second. It makes things a lot more fun when we're all chit-chatting with each other. So with that, let me know if you can hear this, and we're going to go for it right now.
You're listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, Session 5. Welcome to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, where positivity and spirituality create an enhanced life's journey with the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha. I am your host, Iya Omileti Olubumi.
This is before the name change, people. Well, before the name change.
This is the second podcast of 2018, and I am excited to be here with you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast and for your support. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Today's episode is one that is very dear to my heart, and it's the core of Orisha Wisdom and its mission. Alejos, Aborishas, and the newest priests are our jewels in the Orisha traditions. So with that, let's get this party started. Why are Alejos, Aborishas, and new priests, why are they the jewels in our traditions, you ask? Okay, I'll give you a few reasons. These are the people who will help to carry our traditions into the future and into future generations. These are the people who will remember us when we are long, long gone. These are the people who will call out our names in the prayers and remember us. These are the people who will keep the chain linked and our lineages alive. These are the people that can change the world's view of our traditions. These are people who can change the world. Many folks entering these traditions, they do not have the blessing and luxury that some have to be born into these traditions. Just think about it. What? A weekend dressed in white and some chickens and drumming and someone jumping up and down screaming. Yawn. That just happened last week. I mean, think about it. That is what some of our children will say being in our traditions. But to someone coming into these traditions, this is the biggest excitement that many will have in their lives. And unfortunately, it is sometimes tainted by the treatment that many initiated priests and elders give them. It's like, how do I explain it? Like they snuff out their lights before they even have a chance to shine. So we have to think that these Alejos and brand new Aborishas are just discovering a brand new world over and over. Each little thing that they learn, it's like something brand new and their eyes sparkle and they're so big and wide with the brand new little thing that they learned about Eshu, about Oshun, a new pataki that they learned, something that they saw. They saw a Yawa on the street. Oh my God, they're so excited. They're going to have a blessed day. Everything is so brand spanking new to them.
I'm going to pause here for a second. When I was starting out, I remember that one of the most exciting things for me was to see a Yawo. And I would go out of my way to cruzar la calle, to cross the street, to see this Yawo, so that I could cross my hands and say, bendición. Oh my God. To me, that would have been the highlight of my week because I didn't see them often. But if I did, I would be so excited. And it was very interesting. I'm pausing it here because it was years later that I hear a lot of priests. Ah, yeah, all these people, they wanted to say bendición, and here I am so fucking tired, and I don't want to hear anybody, and I don't want to talk. And I understand that the yaguaraje, I know, because I've been through it, the yaguaraje can be rough, man. It can be rough, and it's uncomfortable. You are under the microscope. You have to, you know what I mean? Like you are scrutinized, but to those people who are looking at you, you are like the best thing ever. And I just wanted to bring that contrast over because back then I remember how important, how awesome, how awestruck I was just taking a look at a yawo. I was so excited. To me, that was so awesome. So I don't know if anybody here has had any experiences like that, either when you guys were new and you would see somebody dressed all in white from head to toe, like what did you think? Or if somebody actually approached you or even try to hug you, try to touch you. By the way, I never did that. But try to hug you, try to touch you, and you're just so freaking annoyed. Because I would like to show also the balance of the scale. All right, vamos a continuar.
For those of you who do not know, I am a die-hard Harry Potter fan. Like, really. I've watched every movie at least a dozen times each. Maybe more on some of them because some of them I feel are super cool. But I've read each book at least twice from beginning to end. And I just loved discovering that new world along with Harry. If you have read the books, or if you watched the first movie, remember his eyes, Harry Potter's eyes, when he found out about this world, his eyes were going to jump out of his sockets. They were so wide. And who could blame him? There are witches and wizards flying brooms, literally flying brooms, monsters, and magic. Real magic. Imagine a brand new person who comes from either, I don't know, Christianity, Catholicism, the Muslim faith, and they are just smitten with the Orisha traditions. They are smitten with the idea that there is this whole new spiritual world full of magic, divination, spiritual gifts, spirits, potions, magical medicines, possessions of spirits, ceremonies, and exclusivity, and a connection with the divine. How awesome is that? It's not some new age thingy that was in some fairy tale book. This is like real. Yep, these things are real, and these people are finding out about this for the first time. I was just having this conversation with one of my god sisters. As we were remembering our journeys together, Alejos are the first ones to show up, to be there, to offer to help. Just think about it. They are hungry. They want to know. And they love every bit of this faith and the traditions that they are just finding out about. They don't just love, they feel it. Although they don't have any initiation, many don't have ileques, they don't have an eshu, they don't have a godparent, and they feel it. They know and they feel that this is where they want to be at. What do many of them get? Well, I laugh about this because there are a set of questions that were always asked to me at every event as an alejo. Okay, most events. And I knew it was going to be interestingly good or interestingly bad. So here are the questions. Do you have Ocha? Do you have a godparent? If the answer was no, specifically to the first question, It was a type of reaction that I still see today in some venues that I have been a guest at. Oh, you're an alejo. And it was like I was automatically erased, invisible, or nothing. And if you say, well, you don't have no godparent, it's like you're double erased and you're double invisible. There are a few things that happen to an alejo who gets the quote unquote, air quotes, not so happy welcoming committee.
I'm going to pause this for a second before we get to the story so that I can get to the chat. Has anybody heard of any stories like this? Has anybody had any experiences like this when you first started? I'm very, very interested on, because what I remember with my own two eyes and my own two ears, what I felt, man, it sucked. And I was welcome. The first drumming I ever attended was an Ocha drumming. Yes. I got invited from a friend of mine who knew the godparent who was crowning someone. And I guess she asked whether we could attend. My friend at that time was an Orisha. I felt like I was nothing. So I was just happy to get an invite. And that drumming cemented my love for these traditions. The second one screwed me up and I almost left. So I'm very interested in finding out experiences that you guys have heard. This episode is rather short. So right now, I think we only have like 25 minutes left to go on the episode itself, I believe. But I'm very interested. So tell me on the chat, have you encountered an experience like this? Either have you seen it happen, or has anything like this happened to you in the beginning where you were just like invisible, like like not okay? Let me know. I am curious. In the meantime, because there's a lag, I will keep it going because you guys are probably not going to see my messages in a little bit.
At some events. Number 1, the person thinks, I guess that this is how it is. And when I get initiated, then I'll be in. And I'll be treated better. Number 2, person thinks, screw this. I don't need this. I'm going back to Jesus, Mary, or Virgin of the Tomatoes. 3, person says, I don't like this. And in any other arena, I would punch you in your face. But I will take what I need and then bounce. Now, all of these reactions have negative outcomes.
Wait, I think there's a fourth one. And the fourth one is, I don't like this. This is the way it is. So now I know what to do to someone else.
Outcome from the first one is that they will be meek and listen. Yes, Baba. Yes, Iya. Every second. Drop on the floor every time you come by. And the moment that they become priests and their year and 7 days is over, they will treat everyone
the
exact way that they were treated, like dirt. They feel that this was a rite of passage. They feel that this is how it must be done. So I paid my dues. So now you get to be dirt while I'm not. And just think about that for a moment. A possible outcome from the second person.
I'm going to pause this so that I can go check out. No, nobody has written their experiences just yet, but this happens a lot more often, especially I've spoken now that this is a lot. This has been a while since I recorded that episode. I've spoken to many priests, and a lot of them now tell me that they are really leery of people that are over eager or, yes, Baba, yes, Iya. And they're very, very careful when it's, yes, anything you say, yes, yes. They're very, very careful when it comes to that. And I didn't like hearing that when I heard it, but then the explanations came in. Sometimes these are the people that they will do whatever. But when they get out and they're out of those whites, uy, son el diablo. They're the devil. All right. I'm still not seeing any of the postings of the previous questions. So I'm going to keep going, but don't worry, I'll keep checking back.
Is that they could have had a very good spiritual journey here in our traditions, but they were turned off by our community's reactions, and they missed their destiny here. Like their destiny was to be a great, I don't know. Let's say they were supposed to go all the way and be an Iyanifa or a Babalao. And he was going to guide a lot of people, but he was turned off by this part that happened. And there was just no way that he could go back and willingly subject himself to this again. That's very sad. I think that missing one's destiny, it's the worst thing that can happen. Now, a possible outcome from the third person is that they will be unsure of where they stand, or they will become a term known as ile hopper, those people who jump from house to house trying to get what they need, or even jump on Facebook groups, internet forums, or read a ton of books just to try to get the information. And as soon as they get to the page that they need, or to the group that answered their one question, that's it. They bounce. And they don't get the full teachings that they're supposed to get. And it's not going to be a rhythm that one can be at to bounce from house to house to house. Every house has an essence. Every house has something that the more time you stay there at, the more you can learn. And that cannot be given by 500 Facebook groups or 200 online forums. I wanted to share with you 2 experiences that helped to shape the beginning of my journey. So this was very personal to me. When I was an alejo, a green person in the traditions, a friend of mine told me that there would be an ocha, a crowning of an Omo Oshun. And I was told that the bembe would start at 3 p.m. on a Sunday. Now, I heard that Oshun liked butterflies, so I really went out of my way to find a little white bandana with colorful butterflies. And, of course, I was dressed in white, but I had that look of, uh-oh, I don't know what's going on, and that little lost look. So as I walked in, I remember this was in the basement of a house, and there was like nobody there. And I walked in like, did I come at the wrong day? Because it could happen. And I remember, the yawo was still in what's called la ropa del medio, like the middle day clothes. So the yawo was still not dressed for the bembe, but the throne was open. And it was just, I think, the iya, the crowning godmother, and I think the jubona was there, but that was it. It was empty. And the priestess, who is the godmother, she was sitting next to the yawo, like in a little stool on the throne, and she said, "It's always the alejos that show up on time." And she shook her head. I remember. And she said, "Not the priests." And she shook her head. She sat me outside the mat by the yawo. She explained to me what was going to happen and asked questions on what I knew. She was gentle and spoke softly. I remember she told me how to greet the mat. She told me what to say. A lot of words, I have no idea, but she was very gentle and patient with me. And I was very nervous because I had never been at a drumming. That was my first drumming. I remember people started to trickle in around 4-ish to the bembe. So I basically got a one-on-one with a priestess and a yawo face to face. And I was like, woohoo! I couldn't be more thrilled than that. So since this was my first event and I didn't know any protocol about anything, I really looked like a scared puppy. Probably a scared puppy. And I had that look. And I know because I see that look in others when they're coming in. So I can only imagine what I look like. So I would stand here or there at the event, and I felt like I was in everyone's way because now people were starting to come in. I remember around 5 p.m., that's about when the drummers started to come in and stuff and set up for the beginning, for the oro to be sung. And now that the drummers were going to get started, of course I wanted to be in the front, but I had that scared and lost look, the one that you get when you don't know what you're doing. And a gentle older lady approached me. And she asked me, of course, the magical questions. Are you an alejo? But she didn't do it with arrogance or with, trying to snub me. She just asked, are you an alejo? Very gently, I remember. This was different. This was not the godmother. And I nodded because it was starting to get loud. And she told me to stick with her. I didn't know who she was. She told me her name. And she stayed with me the entire event, basically close to the back with me. She told me when to kneel. There was something about some water that was being thrown and I had to go to the front and put it somewhere on my forehead. I was trying to copy what everybody else was doing. She told me there was a time for me to do that. There was something going on. I remember when the order started, she told me, okay, this is what oro is. We're going to sing to the Orishas in order before the drumming. And I said, I don't know what oro is, but I'm going to watch. And oro got started. Like she told me every single step that was happening. I remember one that everybody was dancing, the drummers, the akbong was singing, and everybody something was going on in the throne and everybody just squeezed together and tried to rush the front. But not like they were going to rush the front, like attack the yawo, but something was going on. I didn't know. I guess that my expression must have said it all because she gently tapped my arm and said, I think the yawo is being touched and this is what we look for. Everybody wants to see. I said, oh, but I was in the back. I couldn't see anything except the top of her crown moving a lot because I was in the back. I have to tell you, I was truly grateful for her generosity, for her time, and her gentle nature. She made me feel like I was a human being that day and not just alejo without a godparent who shouldn't even be there or born or alive. What happened because of that event is that now I wanted more. M-O-R-E, more. I truly, truly wanted to be part of this community and feel that calmness, that gentleness, that wholeness that I felt when I was speaking with these two priestesses. I mean, I felt welcome. I really felt that warm, fuzzy, spiritual feeling, and I wanted to maintain it. I wanted to have that feeling every day. Their behavior and how they treated me gave me a glimpse into the type of spiritual person that I wanted to become. I really just wanted to change, to transform like this butterfly and join them in the community. What does this tell you? That, yes, of course, I was definitely priest starstruck. I admit it. It's a little. But I'm sharing this with you because priests should always be mindful of their words and actions with alejos. Their words and actions can have severe consequences and could block the growth of another person, and that is not an osopo that anybody would want anyway. Everyone is in charge of their own actions, right? I mean, sure. However, when one undergoes all of the processes, time, and learning, not to even mention the money, to become a priest in these traditions, the commitment does not end there. Priests become, of course, responsible for themselves and their spiritual growth, right? But now, they also become responsible for the community around them. Priests become responsible for how our traditions are viewed. How is this? By our behavior. Priests are responsible for molding the new generations, including children. And who? The alejos, the aborishas, and the new priests. It is unfortunate that there are many priests within our community that do one of these two behaviors. One, if you're an alejo or aborisha, then you're nothing. You're nothing until you make ocha. Or two, if you're an alejo or aborisha, then you are their future chiching vacation or brand new living room set. Now, I'm not saying that all priests do this, so don't kill me here. I'm saying that this really does happen. And let me just put here some comments that were told to me by initiating.
I'm going to stop here for a second. I've actually been taking notes, and I think we need to expand it because it's very unfortunate that there are a lot of issues that are going on in our community. And these issues sometimes go, la palabra que me viene es impune. That means that they don't go, there's no justice for what's done. We're talking about schmexual, because sometimes we can't say certain words, abuse, as saying we're talking about other types of assault that have hurt many people, whether they are alejos, aborishas, or just indefensos, people that can't really defend themselves. We have that. We also have, besides I put the future ATM in there. Besides that, we've also seen that even priests are ousted by their own houses, made fun of, just denigrated within their spiritual structure, within what's supposed to be their safe space. And I think that's deplorable. Honestly, I really, really do. I think that's deplorable. And this happens a lot. I understand now that things are, it's not that they're changing. I was going to say changing, but it's not changing. I think that things are now being brought into the open with the rise of social media, of places like Reddit, where you can post anonymously and people feel a lot safer so that they don't get, I'm going to curse you, you're going to die, and, all of the things that come along with it. So, what have you heard? And again, I understand there's the other side of the priest, but we're going to finish this one and see if it's even addressed in here, because I haven't heard this since probably when I made it, and that was many moons ago. All right, seguimos.
Priests. We're talking Iyaloshas and Babaloshas. So here we go. One that I got is, I wish that I would have known that the people change after you do expensive work with them. Here's another one. I wish that I would have known that after making ocha, that my godmother would disappear. That one is very sad, and I have to tell you, it's not unique. Okay, moving on. I wish that I would have known that as soon as I paid my olokung money and the rushed ceremony that was done, that they basically were going to use that money to take off as spending money for that weekend cruise. The list continues, and it is sad, but these comments are not unique. They are not special few that got hurt in the process of working with priests who undermine them. These types of experiences scar a person and mark them. They can make decisions that will influence and even tamper with their destinies. All why? Because a priest decided that it would be a great idea to mistreat someone. As years passed, I couldn't, air quotes, pull the trigger on getting a godparent. I had 3 different opportunities. 2 were for an Orisha house and 1 for a Palo Mayombe Munanso. I know how lucky I am that I waited until I found the perfect place for me.
I rescind that.
This can be hard. As my face began to get a little more familiar at events, folks began to let go some of their nicey nice behavior, and I got to see other sides that I didn't know how to navigate. So think about this. I am in my early 20s when this is happening, but I'm young and I was always coming to every event that I could. So let me tell you what happened at a particular event. I remember at one event, I was on the side, as usually alejos are, out of the way, but kind of away.
Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, I wanted to pause this for a second. I think I know exactly where I'm going, but before I get there, I wanted to say something that I wrote. There's a particular place that if you've been in Lukumi for a long time, you will have heard of, but I will not mention it by name. But it's a type of organization that is notorious for changing the Lukumi foundational. They say they have their reasons. They are also known for making ochas with fruits and vegetables and sometimes not the animals that are supposed to go there. Although I also have been told that, yes, they can do it with animals if that is what you request, but they're saying that we're more evolved. Anyway, I don't agree with that. However, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. I know of a woman who I now understand the fear. I don't know, I keep hearing all these clickety-clicky sounds. I now know the fear that she went through with her house of they're going to kill me. I know that. I know that now, but I didn't know that then when she and I spoke. And it was a pretty sad story, and you could feel the fear on the phone. Like you could feel it. And now I understand that crying that she did. It was like that desperate crying. And I'm like, I understand that now. Like to 2026, I understand that now. But back then, I didn't know what that exactly was, but I could feel what it was. And she invited me many moons later to attend one of her calls. She's like, please, you were very instrumental in me staying in these traditions and whatever, whatever. And I stayed there. I never said a word. And I realized the reason why they got her is they treated her like a human being. That was it. With respect, as a human being. And they treated her extremely well. And I've said this over and over. If you know me personally, you know exactly what I am talking about, what organization I'm talking about. And I say it is our fault that we are the way we are because we can't criticize them. We really cannot, because we are the ones that are literally handing people to them because we have been mistreating as a community the brand new people. And that's why we're continuing to feed that particular organization with brand new people because obviously we can't get it together. And by the way, when I say we, that doesn't mean every single person. I'm talking as a whole. There have been so many negative experiences, and that organization has taken note, and they're like, oh, but if we treat them like they're one of us, they'll stick around. And they will. They absolutely will. So anyhow. Oh, I'm trying to press play.
During a drumming, the drummers were taking a break. And there were two priestesses speaking to each other about mundane things, laughing and talking about this or that. And if you're in New York City and you're getting started in that state, in that area, you know that many events happen in people's apartments, people's basements. It gets really crowded fast, especially when the word goes out that a drumming is for whoever. So
Meaning
these two ladies were
Maya for
talking,
which Orisha?
and they're very entertained. And someone passed by and needed to either scoot around them, which wasn't possible because of the way that the setup of that little hall was, or to say, excuse me, and to go through. She politely said something to the effect of alafia, and the emphasis was put on the wrong place. You could tell that it just wasn't natural sounding. And one of the priestesses looked clearly annoyed that someone had interrupted them. Without responding, she just looked up. The other one asked kind of roughly, so how many years do you have? The lady responded something like she's not initiated. And what happened next was a bit too much. They said something like, oh, okay. And they moved aside to let the lady scoot. I remember because it was on the way to go to a bathroom. It was like a little hall to get there. And I was hanging out there because, I don't know, easy escape maybe to the bathroom. And when the lady left, she went to the bathroom and she came back through and left. They laughed heartedly, like loudly. And they said, ay, it's okay. It's only an aleyo. And they laughed harder and completely dismissed her as if she were nothing.
By the way, I was close by.
I
was
remember
invisible
that I
too.
stayed frozen in place because I knew that I was also an aleyo and I didn't want to get that. So I stayed in place. That was one of my other first encounters with priests making aleyos feel that way. So believe me when I tell you, this is not unique. We have to understand that how we treat people will make an impact on how they deal with themselves and the world. I often tell my husband that I have patience for the newbies,
now.
but it's the ones who know better that I have zero patience for. And then he feeds me what he lives by, Ifa, patience, love of everyone, and puff, puff, puff. But I have always felt that the newest person should be treated like gold. I kind of went over this earlier, but why the new ones? Why? Because they are the ones that will be mentioning our names when we die. They are the ones that can land in political, public servant, criminal justice, police positions, medical positions, TV producers that will not demonize these traditions.
Wow, that's a good point.
We don't live in a day and age where we need to hide like many of our blood and spiritual ancestors had to. We can be in the open. And nowhere in those old ways did it say anywhere that the priests in our traditions must treat alejos, aborishas, or even brand new priests as insignificant or invisible, trash. I don't know what other words to put here. These alejos, aborishas, and priests, these people, they are the jewels of each spiritual house. How we nurture these jewels, how we shine these jewels, how we take care of them, how we place them on our iles is what is going to lift us when we are gone. And we're not all going to be here forever. They are the ones that we must show love, appreciation, and really teach them with care. Now I understand that especially alejos, they come in with, I want to learn now. I need to learn right away, everything, and I have to learn so that I can get initiated next week. We understand that. We have to put our feet in their shoes so that we are able to properly teach without demeaning them. Because this is the way that human beings should be treated. Because our actions can affect others. Because priests take an oath and they affect others around them. Because they could be choosing to either treat well or mistreat a possible great messenger of Orisha who could help to change the world. I'd like to leave you with this. Being a priest never means that someone is better than a non-priest.
Boy, is
it's
that
just
right.
a different path in their journey, but with that path comes great responsibility. Yes, I know. I watched a movie of Spider-Man, but it's true. With so much, it does bring great responsibility. No matter where you are in your journey, understand that if you are an alejo, an aborisha, or a brand new priest, you are the jewel to Orisha and our community. You've reached the end of this episode of the Orisha Wisdom Podcast, and I thank you for listening and hanging out with me. Do you have any comments? Have you had a positive experience as an alejo or strong experiences that have shaped you? Come on over and share them in our Facebook group. And for show notes and any links to this session, go to www.orishawisdom.com/session5. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, Odabo. Thank you for listening to the Orisha Wisdom Podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes at orishawisdom.com/podcast.
The sound
Can't get enough of Orisha Wisdom? Check us out at orishawisdom.com and subscribe to our community. Remember, the wisdom of Ifa and Orisha is all around us.
All right.
Be blessed.
So,
and until next time.
One of the short episodes. It's like all the technology behaved excellent. We're getting much, much better. what did you think of this episode, people? I honestly think that I still stand by most of what was said, with the exception of, just a couple of minor things. And I was taking some notes here or there. Um, and I really like the fact that if we treat people well, maybe those are the people that are going to land in certain spaces that we are going to be placed at, where we're not demonized anymore, because it's bad enough as it is for us. So what did you think about the episode so far? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I still stand by that part. I still stand by, there's a lot of mistreatment of the youth. I've, even with my 2 ears, have heard that, there are certain priests that until you reach 10 years, you shouldn't even open your mouth because you're nothing until then. And I'm like, I understand you have to pay your dues, but damn. And here's another thing. Now that, let me see, 18, 19, 20. And then, oh, wow. So it's been 11 years since that. Really? No, it can't be. Ay, Dios mío, I'm counting wrong. So 18, what is it? 7, 8 years since that episode started? Is that right? No, that can't be. 9, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my God. 8 years. So it's been 8 years. I still stand by the episode. I feel that there's still a type of mistreatment when it comes from the older priests into the younger ones. They treat the alejos really, really well. It's like to reel them in. And then once they're reeled in, that's it. Se jodió, you paid forever. And that's it. This has been a quiet chat this week. I just want to know, what did y'all think about this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I mean, and if you've had a wonderful experience, congrats. But that's not everybody's. If you had a wonderful yaboraje, congratulations, but that's not everybody. If you've been with the same priest from the get until the end, congrats, that's not everybody. It's pretty rough for a lot of people, pretty rough. So I just wanted to, let me see. I wanted to put musiquita. Let me see. What about this one? Oh, I like that one too. Maybe I need a little something that's not as zen. It feels like I'm going to do a meditation. So what did y'all think? Okay. So I see and I agree and I disagree. Can you expand that a little bit? Because I do agree that some alejos come here disrespectfully. I call that like the butterfly effect, where they go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. I agree that sometimes you were trying to teach them like, hey, esto no se hace, that's disrespectful, and they do it anyway. I understand that. But I'm talking about a different attitude. Is it changing? I don't know. I don't know if I can say, I don't know. So half and half. That doesn't help me, half and half. Oh, I haven't had half and half con café in a while. See, now I need half and half con café. So what has been, first of all, thank you for joining us today. I do appreciate you guys. But this is very, very good so that we can have a live discussion on this. I still agree. And sometimes this is not one of the most, catastrophic episodes, but I feel that it is important. I feel that also, okay, so I saw a video where Gen Xers are coming in and the mother tells them, wash the dishes. And you hear the Gen Xer say, okay, mom. And they wash the dishes. And then the one after that, but I don't want to. And then until the last younger one is already, you tell them to wash the dish and they're on the floor. No, I don't want to. Oh my God. Why you got to do this to me? And it is, you see this devolvement. Time is slowing. I don't know what you're talking about. I think I'm older than you. So I don't know what you're talking about. For vieja, there's me. But I think that the example goes along with the, the Gen Xers to, Gen Alphas that you're like, I don't want to. And my son jokes around with me, but I'm like, can you do this for me? And most of the time he'll say yes. And the other one is like, it's too much work. It's too hard. And I'm looking at him like, I just asked you to open the door. Like, it's just like the attitude. So I understand. But that's not what I'm not addressing them. I'm addressing the other attitudes. But I remember that when they were like, she's just a legend. They laughed. I also remember at that time I was married. I went to a drumming that we were invited to, and we went as an ile, right? And my then husband was dressed with an agbada and whatever. And I know somebody who was famous, I'm not going to say any names, was there. And my eyes widened like, is that? But I couldn't say anything because I was trained to not react to those things. And it's a TV personality. And if I mention, you would know who it is. And I remember that she sees us coming in. Now, I was matching with my husband. My then godmother, I believe, was with us. She was with us, and we look like a crew, like an Ifa-centric crew. Like, we look like an African crew. And I remember this woman, and she throws herself in front of my husband. Well, I'm gonna get my blessing on. And I'm like, and what happened was that he did lift her. And I stayed really quiet. She was fine, but she dumped whoever to try to get this. But at any other time, she wouldn't even acknowledge any breathing person that was walking past her. And this is what I mean. It's like a type of attitude that unless you are X, whatever X is defined for these priests, they're not going to treat you well. So those are my thoughts of what I've seen. It's what I've seen. And for the people who think you're old, I'm old. Okay. It rains and my knees creak. Like that. So I don't know. What did you think about this episode? Let me know. I know that there's a few of you here. What did y'all think? And like I said, Orisha Wisdom has not been a place for everybody to agree. But I think it is a good place to respectfully disagree and discuss things. Okay? So I know that this might be a little delayed for, I guess it's just the way the streaming works. But I wanted to say, thank you. Thank you for showing up for me today. And thank you for contributing and for listening. And I don't know, what did you guys really think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you seen this type of behavior? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Bling, bling, bling. All right, let's see. I'm reading. Back in my day, people who were in the religion were in because of family traditions, or they had a big ass problem that brought them into Ocha. So the mentality was different. And I agree. I fully agree with this. It's like everybody has Ocha now. And back then, let's say out of 100, 5 people might have Ocha. And then the rest of the people were being helped by those 5, right? But now is, okay, who's my Orisha? When do I make Ocha? And so I get that. But again, there's the two sides of the spectrum. There is the overeager alejos and aborishas that they want everything now. We get that. But that's not the half I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones who are supposed to know better, the ones who are supposed to have a responsibility towards the community. And this is what I am talking about at the moment. But yeah, I agree. Or, a big ass problem. Well, health could be a big ass problem. Yeah. And of course, in familia, I agree with this too. You know what I mean? So I think we're good. Oh my God, this is like an hour. This is so good. We're getting so good at this. So I guess we're going to do 5 more weeks of this. I'm trying to figure out how to get people to show up to this live without me sending multiple reminders. Tell me how to do that. I know that there are some people here who know how to do these things. Tell me, because I want to get better. And that's about it. That's all I got. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that, I don't know, made you think, because a lot of priests and a lot of people in the religion were here, but I hope that it gave you something to think about, something to observe, and if we need to, something to get better at. And that's what I got. All right, everybody. So we're going to do this again on Thursday. I am going to be creating the next live. So please click on the bell icon so that the next time I'm live, you will see it coming up in your feed. All right, everybody. So I will talk to you. Mwah! Love you all. And I will see you next week. Ciao. Now we got to figure out how to end this because we're still learning.